Scott Narver, what are you doing? That's the WWE Encyclopedia. Why are you ripping stuff out of it?
Jake Lloyd Bacon, I'm just revising history.
What are you ripping out?
Ripping out some of the V's.
Some of the V's? What? Oh, I get it. But wait, why wouldn't it be an M? Isn't it an encyclopedia? Shouldn't it go by last name?
Wrestling fans are dumb.
WWE Encyclopedia Part 15, today on Pro Wrestling Palskis.
Hey, there's pictures in here.
Narver.
Hey, Jake Lloyd Bacon.
And hey, Sushi Pants. You got a kitty over your
sushi
shoulder.
Sushi Pants to you, buddy.
Sorry. I'm sorry. Am I not allowed to just use the last name casual
Does she call
athlete?
you Lloyd Bacon?
She's never called me despite having my number.
Yeah, cuz you get her name wrong. Right? That's right.
Well, you know whose name we don't get wrong? Strong Style, a.k.a. Gaines, current PWP World Champ, will defend that title
now,
right here today.
Now.
And you want to do it now? You want to do it at the top? It's unprecedented.
I mean, I was just seeing if you're like,
wait.
no, you got to wait.
Yeah. I was just about to say that. Let's make people wait. You know, we'll tease it. It's going to happen. The championship battle royal happens today. A winner is chosen, and then for some reason a ref counts to 3 and a bell rings. Don't think too much into it, okay? Sound design is just a thing that happens every now and then. All right. If you would like to be in that championship battle royal for the next time it happens, well, then you got to become a championship level patron over at patreon.com/PW Palskis. Once again, patreon.com/PW Palskis. There are a bunch of different tiers as well. You don't have to just become a championship Palski. You can become a main event Palski as well and get access to the entire Patreon catalog of material there, including a ever-growing library now of brand new video watch-along Wednesdays.
Yep, it's done right there for you. If you listened a while back and you're checking out the podcast again, you're like, yeah, I get it. The watch alongs. I gotta find the match, and then I gotta sync it with you guys and do all that. We got a new version now where, yeah, you can still do it that way if that's what appeals to you. But also, we've got a version where you can see us on screen, you can see the match on screen. All you gotta do is hit play, and you're watching us watching it in real time.
It's like Inception. I think. I don't know. I didn't really understand that movie. Anyways, speaking of not understanding things, that is not possible when you have an encyclopedia to look stuff up with. And today, Scott and Narver, we are cracking open the WWE Encyclopedia for the 15th time, at least this version.
More like conception of content.
Ooh. Oh, wow. Look at you.
Look at me. Look at me.
Look at you. Please
Look
stop.
At me.
I miss your backgrounds.
Why?
Scott.
I got a cat.
I know, but the cat will still be there probably. It'll just get rid of your messy dresser.
It's not messy at all.
No, it looks a little messy from where I'm standing. Just like piles of things.
Yeah, well, you're the American perfect of wrong and a dog, and all those, your Star Trek switchboard.
Okay. Mike Lucas in the chat. Hey, encyclopedia time. Let's go. I like that. Mike is so excited about it.
Someone's got to be.
All right. How do you want to do it this time? How do you want to pick the page?
I think you picked last
page
time.
Pickers. Okay. So go for it.
So I'm just going to go. People are going to see it.
Are you gonna just pick a page at random that way? Oh yeah, just open up right to it. Or are you gonna do oh man, the technique. I like the fact that the head's back, the mouth is open.
Oh, Buddy Rogers. We're talking all kinds of Buddy Rogers, or we're doing it for 3 minutes because Jake's like, I don't know who that is.
A 2-page spread of a person that I know the name of, but don't know much about.
It's a cool dude, Buddy Rogers.
How much do you know about the old BR?
A bit. Not a lot.
Yeah?
But we're going to learn about him.
Was he still around when you were watching old Texas wrestling as a youngin'?
Like, was he alive?
Well, was he wrestling?
Or was he hanging out at the house eating moon pies?
Yeah. Yeah, was he hanging?
That's a Tennessee thing. Was he like piece of shit? I caught you.
Was he installing cable? Tennessee, Texas, it's all the same.
Well, I don't know if he was a Southern guy. So this is amongst the things we're talking about here. So is that what you mean? Like, was he just an active wrestler? Is what you're asking, or was he like in my territory?
I meant was he an active wrestler? I meant was he an active wrestler when you started watching wrestling? I was just being specific for the sake of comedy, but not actually caring about the specifics.
I don't think so, because I think that's way past his time of wrestling. Gotcha. So we'll see here. Let me jump ahead on his era biography here. A new generation. So I see here in the late 70s, Rogers reemerged in the mid-Atlantic territory to confront a young Ric Flair who also claimed to be the Nature Boy. Fortunately for Rogers, he was unable to keep up with the younger Ric Flair. He fell to the future 16-time world champion in July 1978. And in the early 80s, Rogers made a brief return to WWE to manage his old charge, Snuka. On rare occasions, he would even lace up his boots to compete alongside Snuka in action. However, after suffering a broken hip in a match against Captain Lou Albano and Ray Stevens, it seemed as if the original Nature Boy's days between the ropes were finally behind him. Wow.
So battle for the Nature Boys. No?
Yet the intensely competitive Rogers still believed that he could not only contribute to the industry, but sell out arenas. In 1992, the 71-year-old former champion proclaimed that he was ready to step in the ring one last time at a show in Philadelphia. His motive, silencing yet one more claimant to the name Nature Boy, Buddy Landel. The impending contest generated a great deal of excitement, but before the two could compete, Rogers' old health issues resurfaced.
Oh.
And then the next paragraph, the start of it makes me go, is that what this is? The great Buddy Rogers passed away on July 6, 1992 due to complications from a heart attack and multiple strokes.
When does it say he died?
July 6, 1992.
Not
the same
according
year
to...
that he was going to compete. So when it says like, the old health issues came back again. Death?
All right. So by the way, just because I know that you have the big book, but I wanted to look at some stuff and to get some context without you needing to just read me things. Yeah. I Googled Buddy Rogers, pulled up the Wikipedia. According to the Wikipedia, died June 26, 1992. So even your actual real life death days are just kayfabe in the WWE Encyclopedia.
Well, which one's real?
It's gotta be this one that's verified by
Wikipedia?
The entire world. Yeah,
this is constantly... a publication. This is not, I can't just write in here and change it. Wikipedia, you could have just changed that right now. You could be like, he's still alive.
I edited it myself. I don't know. But anyways, all right. So definitely a true inspiration to Ric Flair. Wrestled way later than he should have.
Did you say inspiration to Ric Flair?
And, yeah, in more ways than one.
You just ripped him off.
You can be inspired by something to the point where you go, I'm going to do that thing. That's inspiration.
A lot of the times in wrestling, it was like, I'm just going to do that. This was territory days. This was, people didn't see that person or whatever. They just go, I'm going to do that. I think now when there's more eyes on all things, or there's more history, but back then it didn't matter. People just took.
He fought in World War II. I feel like that's sort of one of those things where it's like, You're gonna wrestle this guy? You're gonna wrap him up in the figure 4 leg lock?
He's got shrapnel.
He served for your country. What are you doing?
Yeah, I'm trying to figure out all the little icons that you were good at figuring out. Hall of Fame.
Yep.
One of them has WWE. It's like, well, yeah, no shit. What does that even mean? That's what this whole book is WWE.
Well, no, that might be the WWE Championship. If it says WWE, it means the WWE Championship.
Yeah, but they got a bunch of those.
Or it's the WWE World Heavyweight Champion.
He held the WWE Championship is what that means. And then there's the tag team, the U.S. Tag Team Championship.
Okay.
And what the fuck is this one?
I wish you could show it. I could try to guess what it is. I probably
wouldn't be able to. Like I couldn't get the camera to see this. I can't see it.
Now how I felt. I know how I felt when I had the encyclopedia for all those years.
So the World Heavyweight Championship as well. So what was the NWA World Championship?
According to Wikipedia, and I know that a lot of these titles, there's a lot of question about, the lineage of them, but according to Wikipedia, he's one of only 4 men in history to have held both the WWE and the NWA Championship, which is Ric Flair, AJ Styles, and Cody Rhodes as the other 3.
Oh, yeah. Funky.
Yeah, I'm trying to think if there's anybody else that I could think of where it's like there's some weirdness, but I guess not. Once R-Truth wins
Kurt Angle,
his WWE Championship. Oh, Kurt Angle, yeah.
Is he not? Oh, wait, maybe it switched over.
Maybe he wasn't
then.
that, and
he might have been the first
NWA
TNA World Champion.
Right.
I'm thinking on
right.
Because the timing was like right there, but the old switcheroo.
Right. From TNA being the NWA program, essentially the weekly.
I mean, good looking guy. I think whenever I see pictures of Buddy Rogers, I think of, God, now I'm totally blanking on his name. The other old school guy that I love with the blonde hair and not Flair, but before Flair too. God damn it. I'm totally blanking on his name. I'm looking through the encyclopedia right now. Panicking. I think it starts with
trying to find a picture. Nikolai Volkov.
Yeah, that's him. No.
I don't know. I can't think of who you might be thinking of.
Yeah, that's fair. Because you'd have to use your memory.
Nuno Sammartini. Buddy Landell, Maslama says in the chat.
Now, really well-spoken work with Bobby Heenan, AWA champ, Nick Bockwinkel. Right. So when I see photos of him, I think of Bockwinkel because there's a lot of the same look.
Yeah.
I think Bockwinkel's hair is a little bit better.
Yeah, I mean, Buddy Rogers is like, he comes from that same era where like the Bruno Sammartinos were like
Grandpa Strong.
They were just built. Grandpa Strong. Thank you. Yeah, built
Steak
differently.
Potatoes.
It was less about like sculpting your body like a bodybuilder that would come from the 80s, and it was more just about like,
yeah, that's your Arnold Schwarzenegger right?
That barrel chested. Yeah, it wasn't about having giant pecs. It was about like the shape of your rib cage. It was just these big barrel chested dudes. But he was also like, yeah, he was definitely. I mean, I could see how Flair just ripped him off because he has some Flair-ness to him. I could see. I could see another Booker
where he just goes, I'm a Nature Boy now.
Yes, but I could also see bookers and other people seeing a young Flair and going like, oh, he's like Buddy Rogers, so we could just do that with him as well. I think Buddy Rogers is more attractive than Ric Flair, though.
Oh yeah,
my opinion,
for sure.
Not a high bar, but.
In the photo here,
Mass Llama, I do want to give. I was gonna say I do want to give Llama in the chat some credit because before you came to Nick Bockwinkel, he did guess Nick Bockwinkel, but because of the delay, he got there a little bit before you. So good on you, Mass Llama.
Yeah, I have not ever seen a full Buddy Rogers match.
Oh,
I don't
really?
know how many there are. You know,
adding that to the watch. I mean, right.
Tricky.
I mean, the Flair Rogers, the Nature Boy versus Nature Boy match was the first thing that popped up here when I searched for Buddy Rogers, the video element of it, of course, but who knows whether that's the whole thing or if it's just highlights. But there has to be some of them on the network, I assume, right? Or what used to be the network.
Why?
Because of all the WWF era stuff. Don't they have a lot of that there?
No.
No? Really?
It's very frustrating.
Oh, man.
Yeah, they don't put a lot of their old stuff up. It's not a priority. And I don't know, it's just not they don't showcase that kind of stuff often. There's plenty of shows where the catalogs that they own, there's parts of it up there. It's not the full thing. Also, he's from the olden days, Buddy Rogers being, of a lot of the tapes weren't preserved. That whatever was shown on television, they didn't record it or then put it somewhere. So a lot of the archives and stuff his is gone. So I don't know. I don't know what is out there and available, or if it is just matches. It's like, yeah, it was just a TV match. It wasn't anything significant, because there's a lot of those. The title change was some arena and it wasn't televised, and it was, 15,000 people and it was a big deal, but there's no, wasn't taped for prestige.
Right.
Because there's been plenty of stuff like that in watch-alongs where I go, oh, I want this historic. Where's that? No one taped it. It was for a live crowd, and that was it.
We got to get JCP on the network, some Jim Crockett promotion stuff.
Yeah, let me see here. And I was skimming through here, and another interesting thing, because I was trying to find the health issues and what happened where. One of the points of, looks like around 63, there was a controversial title change between him and Lou Thez. So let's see here.
Oh, well, that's like his big rival, his big TV rival.
Is Lou Thez?
It's like the only thing I know about the guy was that, Buddy Rogers and Lou Thez.
Rogers was the biggest box office hit in North America, but that wasn't necessarily good news for everybody. His lack of title defenses outside the Northeast didn't sit well with the other NWA promoters. Eventually, the NWA collectively decided that having Rogers defend the title almost exclusively in the Northeast was bad for business. As a result of the decision, they contacted multiple time champion Lou Thez to try and unseat Rogers. This caused a certain degree of conflict between Capital Wrestling and the NWA. Yet the established organization got their way when Thez toppled Rogers for the title in Toronto on January 14th, 1963, or as Wikipedia would say, like a week and a half later. Following the match, McMahon and Mont refused to recognize the controversial title change, claiming that a championship could not change hands during a one-fall match, a common rule at the time. To further illustrate their point, McMahon and Mont withdrew Capital Wrestling from the NWA to form their own promotion, which today fans know as WWE. That's fucking interesting.
That is
so
interesting.
That came from this? That Vince Sr. And was it Toots Mont? What's the dude's name?
I mean, it does sound like just the intent is like a precursor to it's bad for the argument is like, oh yeah, a territory is good because you could show the same thing to different people everywhere. It's good for touring talent, but bad for the grand scale of like this specific title never coming to a spot. It's like, a double-edged sword, if these say.
Like, hey, we got to make money. You got to go to this town and do this thing. Like, nah.
Yeah.
So in April 1963, McMahon and Mont's new promotion was born with their hand-picked superstar, Buddy Rogers, leading the way as champion, addressing what would later become the WWE Universe. Willie Glisenberg, the company's first president, went on television and announced that Rogers had been crowned during a tournament in Rio de Janeiro, Brazil. Really?
Great.
The same fucking thing.
It's an intercontinental title. Yeah, exactly.
God, Rio de Janeiro has cool shit that just doesn't exist. I wonder how many other things happen in Rio de Janeiro.
Wait, I like to imagine that, like Vince McMahon, Senior, thought that Rio de Janeiro wasn't a place that you actually couldn't get to. That like, oh no, it's some remote island somewhere. Like nobody actually goes there. It's fucking Krakoa. Do you know what I mean? Like it doesn't
It's basically
actually
parts
exist.
unknown.
Yes, it's parts unknown. So we could just say that anything happens there, and there's no way to verify it ever because they don't get any news. There's
Can't
no
do it.
technology there. Yeah.
Fans instantly took to the new promotion thanks in large part to the credibility Rogers brought as champion when he defended the title against fellow villains Killer Kowalski and Killer Buddy Austin. Fans were split with a sizable share cheering the charismatic Rogers. Unfortunately, Rogers claimed that soon after his title win, he was beset by health problems in May 1963. He was reportedly pulled out of the hospital by Mont and forced to step into the ring with Bruno Sammartino at Madison Square Garden. Though Bruno won in less than a minute, the Nature Boy truly blazed the trail for the WWE champions that followed. So they put that in a really nice way.
They did.
Hey, we're starting up a new promotion. We don't like all the shit that's going on. You're our champion. Okay. I'm sick. I'm going to the hospital. That's great. Show up at MSG and lose your title. I'll do it in under a minute. I don't give a fuck about any of this. I don't feel well. Yay, how helpful for the fans. And San Martino is such a winner.
Yeah.
Yeah,
this is like Kofi and SmackDown with Brock. If Kofi was like, I think I have the flu, you guys.
That's the flu.
Yeah, I know. Yeah. COVID, I guess. Yeah, not great.
You could have shingles or some shit. It's like, I can't move. Go fight Brock. Interesting dude. I want to find out more.
I definitely feel like watching the Nature Boy versus Nature Boy match would probably be a fun, easy, accessible way. But I would love to see any old stuff with him and Thez when he was sort of at the height of his Nature Boy. Also, I didn't realize, I was just looking at his wiki here. I knew that Flair stole the name from him. I didn't realize he also stole the move. I didn't realize that the figure 4 was Buddy Rogers's as well.
That's what I mean. It's not all just,
that's
hey, I'm inspired by it. I'm just going to do what they're doing. Okay.
Should we do that with another wrestling podcast?
I want to be Jeff Jarrett. You be Conrad Thompson.
Yes. All right. That's what our show is from now on. We're going to steal whatever their gimmick is. What's
83
their gimmick?
guitars with Jeff Jarrett.
Dick pills.
Well, everything with Conrad Thompson is a dick pill. Well, do you want to choose a page now?
Okay, sure. Should we do it by number or should
whatever you like?
I think we should do by number because I think there's quite a delay today. So I think it might be smarter. Otherwise, you'll just be at the end of the book every time, and I'll go now.
So it goes up to page 415. So anywhere between.
Alrighty. One, roughly. I'm sure it's not. It probably starts at like page 8 or something like that. All right, we're gonna go.
Page 4.
200. 287.
287.
287.
287.
I'm gonna take a guess. That we're in the M's.
No.
Am I right or
no?
No. Okay. You got so excited there.
We are in the R's. And here we go. Half of it is from the previous page of Raw Tag Team Champions, Raw Women's Championship, Ray Morgan, Ray Stevens, Razor Ramon / Scott Hall, The Real Americans, and what we've all been waiting for, Rebecca DiPietro.
Guys, can you roughly show the page to the folks? You can just do like a loose hold up here. Okay.
So wait.
Yeah, I see. I mean, I definitely feel like Rebecca DiPietro. I don't know.
You had a crush on her?
Don't know. I don't know who that is.
Following an eye-opening appearance in the 2006 Raw Diva Search, Rebecca DiPietro returned to WWE as a backstage interviewer for ECW.
Oh shit!
Sorry,
Sushi
Sushi Pants
Pants was so excited about that.
She only held the
Loves
position
WWE,
briefly,
ECW.
shockingly, after Laurinaitis did some horrible. Before being released by WWE, but here's where they make it nice again. But during her time, she managed to ask the tough questions to such top ECW superstars as Bobby Lashley, Big Show, and Rob Van Dam. Rebecca enjoyed. Oh, now they're just gonna make shit up potentially here. Rebecca enjoyed a successful modeling career prior to entering sports entertainment. She has appeared in the pages of Maxim and Stuff magazines, amongst others. She also landed on the small screen as part of the Wild On series on E and gained notoriety as the 2005 Miss Hawaiian Tropic USA after leaving WWE. Rebecca won the Miss Metarex model search in 2008.
I'm actually surprised that they gave so much of her accolades outside of WWE as part of the book. That's nice of them to be like, yeah, listen, we know she didn't do much here, but hey, look at all this other stuff she did.
That's her
I
lawyer
missed this
saying,
whole.
hey, we're not going to say what Laurinaitis did if you mention more of her career.
Is this one of those people? Is she one of the people, or are you just being like attempting to be sly about his behaviors?
I'm taking a wild guess and being like, yeah, it doesn't seem far off. This seems like the time they had the Raw Diva search. He was in charge. She was finding models. Like, this is when things changed.
Got it. I didn't know that.
And
got it.
And having met I think a former ECW announcer, a young female who's model and all that stuff, singer, that it seems like the time. It seems like things happened, and she was alluding to stuff but didn't say stuff.
Gross.
Yeah.
Well, you know what? Then I immediately like her, even though I don't know who she is nor saw any of this stuff. Just the fact that she had probably went through awful shit with awful people. You know what? Good for you. Get in that WWE Encyclopedia.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think whenever I see one of these listings where it's like, these are all the people she interviewed, I always love that. It's like the Wrestling Encyclopedia equivalent of like a stand-up, who when you go to their bio, it's like, they opened for these 7 people that you know. And it's like, yeah, so did 7 other people. You were just on like a big group show. Like, like we're really grasping at straws for legitimacy here.
Right.
But
what do you want to talk about? We got Ray Morgan. We got Ray Stevens. We've got
one of our favorite people. One of our favorite people is on those pages. I feel like
the Raw Women's Championship.
Yep, that's our favorite people. The Raw Women's Championship.
Yeah.
Now it's gone. Doesn't exist anymore. That's pretty great. I'm excited. We didn't talk about this on the program.
Yeah, you're very anti-women's championship, so that's a
we
big plus
no
for you.
longer have the names Raw or SmackDown connected to any titles in WWE. I like that. That makes me feel good.
Why?
Because it makes the titles feel, it makes each individual title feel a little bit more special and gives it a little bit more of an identity versus just being equal to another title on a different show, but it just has a different name.
Okay.
Whereas like, oh, the Raw Women's Championship, the SmackDown Women's Championship, they're both perfectly equal. And I know that they might want the Women's World Championship and the Women's WWE Championship to be equal, but by having them named 2 different things at any given point in the storytelling throughout the year, one could be a little bit more of the A title for the women than the other.
Okay.
I think it just allows for a little bit more freedom in the writing.
I was curious to hear your explanation, and I think it is solid, and I agree.
Yeah, it also feels like, well, I could see a talent being like a woman on the roster being like, I really want to be the WWE Women's Champion. And alternatively, someone else can be saying like, I want that World Championship. And I feel like both of those now have an identity versus being like, I want to be a champion, period. I don't care which color the belt is or what the name it says in front of it. Just give me that. Give me our colored championship.
Well, so I assume you're
Does it say how long?
The Raw Women's Championship. How long was it in effect?
Yeah, I was going to stay on topic here for that. Yeah.
Well, it looks like it was born July 25th, 2016, with Sasha Banks defeating Charlotte Flair in Pittsburgh, PA. And then the last recording of it in here is 2019. Maybe it's just significant moments amongst the championship. I'm just trying to figure that out. Oh, okay. So wait, yeah, I don't know why it's listing the matches that it does, but so the history of it is in July 2016, following the WWE draft, timely, the WWE Women's Championship held by Charlotte Flair was rechristened the Raw Women's Championship, exclusively defended by the Red Brand Superstars. So that's when came about.
That was where the lineage was. So the SmackDown title was the one that they just created out of thin air. And I know that they create all of the titles out of thin air. I get it. But
Speed.
But that's the one that
Speed
that's the one that has
Championship.
So the Raw Women's title was the one that was previously a Divas title, or the WWE Women's Championship, which I assume was then previously the Divas Championship. So that's the one with the lineage.
Yeah. Yes. Correct. And then the other marker that it leaves as a milestone is Becky Lynch defeated Charlotte Flair and Ronda Rousey to win both Raw and SmackDown's Women's Championships.
Right. So the one that, yeah, but then they re-edited it. I don't remember what happened. I don't recall the women's. God, it's so good. God damn it, WWE and your fucking titles. For all the shit we give AEW, at least they're all different. They have too many titles, but at least they're all very clear and different. Whereas the WWE ones, the fact that they constantly merge titles and then create a second, even though it's now a third title, so often it makes it so hard to look back. Yeah,
keep track of all that shit. And now there's a Speed Championship, which it means the most of every title. Because if you can get it done quick, you're the best.
Yeah. But no, it's not about getting it. It's like, I know I haven't watched any of those, but what if you just get to the time limit? Is that the champion's advantage? Do you just retain? So I like the idea that there's this. Oh shit! You die? They kill you?
Yeah. Yeah.
Oh wow. I was gonna say that like I want to become Speed Champion and then just spend 3 minutes just running around and being like, I'll be the champion forever. You only have 3 minutes to beat me.
You can run around for 3 minutes.
All right. I'll go hide. I'll spend a minute running. Okay. I'll spend 40 seconds running. I'll find a really good hiding spot.
My shoes.
All right, fine. 20 seconds running. Jesus Christ. My knees.
Hold on. I got to stretch first.
I could spend a good minute and a half stretching. I could kill half the clock just stretching.
You want Ray Stevens, Razor Ramon, Real Americans, Ray Morgan.
Oh, I thought there was a Raven on that list, and that's what I was alluding to earlier.
No,
I didn't see Raven on those pages
previously.
But but we're not counting. I know, but we always count the spread.
Oh, okay. Then sure. Then we also have Raven, Ravishing Rick Rude, Raul Mendoza, and Ranjan Singh.
Light Veer?
Nope.
No? All right.
Nope. He was the Great Khali's manager. He's the dude with the crazy sideburns.
Right.
And then who's also worked there forever. I don't know if he still works there, but that dude is a producer or something like that. Like worked there for a really long time. Like the JTG joke of it all, I think could have been him backstage. And I don't know the guy. I don't know the capacity of stuff he did. Clearly he was fine because he worked there, but it was just shocking for those who knew and been like, that dude's still working there when you don't know of any producing capabilities. Could have been the best. Who knows? But always seemed like a friendly guy.
Yeah, it doesn't state that he is still employed by it. I mean, it just states that all the jobs he had. But I don't know if that's the kind of stuff that you tend to find on a Wikipedia.
Yeah, because I feel like he's got to put it in there.
Right. I know for a while he was writing for them as well, which I guess as a producer,
writing
kind of
thing.
One would think he would have been a singer. Oh, we have fun.
Yeah. So,
what are you looking at? What are you reading?
You want to talk more about him? You want to talk about Raven, Raul Mendoza, Ravishing Rick Rude?
Let's talk about Raven, because we both have a deep love for Raven. Captured the mood of an era better than most of the people who were really authentically trying to do it and failing. I think that he doesn't get credit for the Attitude Era as a whole as much as he deserves, because like he really, I think, like truly brought what was the grunge era of like that style of what was happening in the world, like that the grunge zeitgeist into pro wrestling in a way that beforehand was like ham-fisted or corny, or it was like, you know, it was like old people writing for teenagers that didn't understand teenagers, except he was like he captured that.
All the more credit to him of, we talked about Buddy Rogers and Flair's going like, I'm just going to take that. I'm just going to take that. Or other wrestlers just taking elements of somebody, or pop culture things happening and WWE or whoever, right? WCW, any booker or promoter goes, hey, you're going to be this because that thing's popular. Hey, Brood, vampires, that's popular right now. So you're going to be some semblance of this pop culture thing. Figure it out.
Gothic.
Or we're going to directly steal whatever it was. Hey, Kevin Nash, you're going to be Oz. Like, what? That was a long time ago. Yeah, but we own the rights to it. So you're Oz. Raven taking what exists in pop culture, what a persona is, but there's nothing that he directly takes from. There was no movie. There was no book where it's, oh, he's that character. He took a large landscape of what existed and went, okay, I'm going to figure out my thing. And it was no direct ripoff or stealing of something in the simplest way that happens in wrestling all the time.
100%.
That's what's like truly unique about him.
Right. It's not like, oh, Mad Max came out and now we have Road Warriors. It's, or, you know what I mean? Like this kind of shit. He literally is just like, the reality was like, he was essentially just like the way teenagers were. It's like coming out. I'll never forget watching a wrestler come out in a Pearl Jam t-shirt, me being like, well, that's just the fucking coolest thing. Do you know what I mean? Like, and especially because that sort of part of the zeitgeist wasn't really represented. It was like corny 80s rock and roll was still like wrestling and rock and roll. And it was like, me. And it wasn't like, you know, there was no teen angst in wrestling the way that Raven was like, no, I'm going to bring all the teen angst. It's not goth, which was the other side of things. Like you said, it's like, all right, Brood, vampires, the Undertaker being like this crazy gothic character. Like there's definitely a Venn diagram of like goth and grunge for sure.
Yeah.
But it wasn't brought to the industry. There was no just sort of like, do you want to know what it was apathy. He was the first wrestler who brought a general level of like, fuck the system kind of apathy to it, of like there's a little nihilism in Raven that was never in wrestling because it doesn't work in wrestling.
Yeah, it's really hard to pull something like that off. That I'm checked out. I don't care. I do care, but I don't care about your system. I don't care about your rules. I have my Ravens rules. I have people that follow me. You know, it's pre-Bray Wyatt stuff. But he's not that character. It's just, it was all so uniquely different. And he was so lucky to have in ECW. There's Tommy Dreamer, and Tommy Dreamer's this young blue chipper of a guy. And I played, I think it was football, and I'm the young athlete, and I'm going to do things the right way, and still extreme, but I'm the honorable young man. And then there's Raven. He's the antithesis of him, and they have great chemistry, and they're able to have this unique feud between the two of them.
Yeah. And, you know, we also have talked in the past about being able to reinvent yourself as a wrestler. And that is a 180 too from everything he had done previously. And
Johnny
there's a
Polo.
risk in that. Oh, 100%. Johnny Polo was closer to Tommy Dreamer than, than Tommy Dreamer was to the original presentation of Tommy Dreamer. Not what he would become, not the hardcore guy, but like you said, the blue chipper, the athlete, the not quite high society, but the all-American athlete.
Yeah, because Raven's character, from what I recall, the beginnings, correct me if I'm wrong, or if you remember, or the chat, please, that Raven's background was he was the rich kid.
Yeah, I'm
like
pretty sure
we talked about Tony Khan last week and what Tony Khan should be. It's
right.
Basically, it's like he should be Raven because he's the spoiled rich kid, and then could just be this fucking weirdo with a phone telling everybody what to do. But then it's Raven becomes this multi-faceted character of he's not supernatural. He's not he's still a person. He's still a real person, and he's just this guy. He's got a dark side to him. He's into comic books. He's into music.
Right. Yep.
And that part's represented, but it's not his personality. It's not who he is.
No.
And he's willing to do whatever it takes.
He really, like I said, he tapped into like a suburban, apathetic teen zeitgeist. It was all the shit that, like you said, all the music we listened to, all the comic books we were reading, all of the, the stuff. And it's not that a lesser promoter would have been like, oh, okay, so you're a nerd? We're going to make you comic book guy from The Simpsons. That's going to be your character.
Right. Yeah. And it,
Llama in the chat says, I know
what he was able to do.
In WCW, they revealed that he was always been a rich kid that did his mopey thing to piss off his parents. That's great too. That is kind of the zeitgeist. That's you're literally describing like middle American white kids in, the late 90s, rocking the suburbs and all that.
Yeah, ECW champion, and WCW United States champion, and they mentioned, of course, too, with his hardcore championship, let me see, a record. Is he the one? His greatest. Nah, I don't agree with this statement at all. Fuck you, Encyclopedia.
Okay.
His greatest claim to fame during his WWE tenure was capturing the hardcore championship a record 27 times.
Oof.
Although many of his reigns lasted only a few minutes. The next closest to Raven was Crash Holly with 22 hardcore championship reigns.
Ugh. Yeah, I that to me, that's the WWE problem right there. Like, I'm gonna tell you, like, thank God that they gave Truth the tag titles with Miz at Mania, because if he wanted to wrap up his career in the next year or two, that'd be the thing. They'd be like, our Truth best known for the 24/7 championship.
Winning it like, a bajillion and a half times.
Yeah, this guy's had a 20-year-long career, more than that. Yeah, I think that is an undercut to Raven. I think that's not fair to do to that guy. But I also do think that like he did probably his best work in ECW and in other companies. Not that he was bad in WWE, but I think it was like he was brought in WWE, I feel like, to take advantage of what was already hot versus to create something new.
Yeah.
And to be, refreshing. It was sort of like
it's the McMahon problem of all of that era too. It's not McMahon's creation. It's not his toy. He's in the land of the giants. There's already so many other crazy talents at the time. And if the staff and McMahon aren't behind you, then it doesn't really matter.
This is kind of humorous to me. Could you just do something on your phone really quickly? Could you just Google Raven? Okay. And
just Raven.
Yeah, just or you have to Google like Raven WWE or Raven wrestler or whatever. And do you get the the like preview of Wikipedia on your thing where underneath it says like age and like a little bubble? Do you get that on yours?
I get some of that, yeah. Oh, his spouse.
Do you see where it says spouse? It says his spouse, Selena Kyle, is his spouse. So click onto that.
Cool. That's Catwoman.
His spouse. Yeah, and then it says Selena Kyle, Catwoman. And then it says spouse, Raven, married 2007. So there you go. Who knew? Raven he was wearing a shirt with Doctor Strange on it, but he's actually in the DC universe.
That's great. I think Batman's
I love this. Clearly Clearly an instance where Wikipedia confuses popular names with things.
See, and you're telling me that Wikipedia knows when Buddy Rogers is dead,
right?
Yet
when
Raven's married to a fictional fucking DC character.
Also, good for him.
Good for him.
Good for him. All right, who else is on the page? Why don't you pick who you want to chat about next?
Well, we got Ravishing Rick Rude. We've got Razor Ramon, The Real Americans. Let's talk Rick Rude.
You pick. Let's talk Rick Rude, a guy I hated when I was young. I didn't want to see him. I didn't. Jeez Louise, like an earthquake there because of the cat ran across your table.
She wants to get out so bad, and I can't get to the one door, but there's a way out, and she's not doing it.
We talked about it. Yeah.
Schmuck.
So anyways, Rick Rude, a person that as a kid I hated. I didn't even want to like boo him, you know? I didn't like him as a bag of ass. I just didn't like him. And then as an adult, appreciate him more than most. Like he's just, I didn't know how good he was as a kid. And as an adult, we watched, even if like he pops up on a watch along or I see something on the network, I just go like, fuck, this guy was good. Just so good. But I didn't appreciate it at the time.
Yeah, I think I loved to hate him at the time. Like he was one that it was certainly neat to he's pulling ladies from the crowd and then kissing them. It's like, what? Yeah. Really? I didn't understand his stomach at all. Didn't make any sense.
Where all those bumps came from?
Yeah, I'm like, what is that? How do you do that? Oh God. She just jumped.
I'm literally getting sick watching your monitor, watching your camera shake so repetitively.
Yeah, she's being a psycho. She just jumped to a part of the closet that she's not been to before.
On the last episode, she literally pulled the cord on you. She pulled the plug. She destroyed your internet. Now she's trying to muck with your desk and your camera. She really wants us to wrap this show up. She's like, guys, it's been enough. Been long enough.
This is what I do.
10 years? Let's kill it at 10 years. What do you say?
How you gonna get down from there, huh? Yeah, you're screwed. Yeah, I dug him. The mustache at the time was cool. The mullet was cool. The robes and the tights. I was always fascinated by the tights, like whatever the tights reveal were.
That one of my earliest wrestling memories is him and Jake the Snake Roberts. Like that's because I loved Jake the Snake. This was the way that I was with wrestling as a kid, though. Like I almost like didn't remember the bad guys. Like I rooted for who I rooted for, but I was too young and dumb, mostly the dumb part, to really like retain like the stories and stuff like that. I was just sort of like, you watch it in the moment.
Good guy to win.
It's fun. It's excited. You root for the good guy. Yeah. I feel like Rude versus Jake Snake Roberts was the first time that like I recall as a really little kid, and I didn't understand what was happening. I was way too young, I'm sure. But I just remember being like, oh, this guy's really bad, and not just in a wrestler way, but like he did something really bad, and I really want Jake to beat him up, because that's what we do. We teach our children to solve all of our problems with violence.
I think so. What, are they going to use their words? That's trouble. You get beat up doing that.
One of my earliest memories was Jake and Rude.
Yeah, with Jake's wife.
Yeah. And again, I don't even think I understood all that. I think I was still probably too young for that.
Well, I remember him taking his pants off.
Oh, and showing his little hiney.
And his dick.
Oh, really? I don't remember that. I don't think they aired that on the TV.
All of it's a blur. Like they blur the whole thing. It wasn't just like a pull down and his butt's exposed. It was,
and was the story
Ravishing Rude was wearing tights with Jake's wife on them.
On his crotch.
He tried to pull her from the crowd.
Yep.
And do all that. And then it was another episode of Superstars, whatever it was. And then, then Jake goes out there and rips off the tights that have Jake Roberts' wife on them.
Now, the story, I don't know how much of the kayfabe they got over on us. The story, as I know it, was that he legitimately didn't know that it was Jake the Snake Roberts' wife. And they put a mic on her. And like it was like, who are you here to see? And she said Jake the Snake Roberts, but she didn't say he's my husband or anything like that. And then they realized after the fact, like, oh, great, perfect. We'll just run with this. And now Jake, like, that's the story that they tell. But, you give the face you're giving me right now is that I'm a child.
Because she didn't show up in the ring. I think it was, he walks up to her and there's a lady in the crowd. And then they went, let's air all that footage and run with that. Because I think she did say, like, I love Jake the Snake. Why? Meth? I mean, he's my husband. They had to know.
Yeah.
That their husband and wife? Yeah, well, you're right. You're right. I think they ended up together again at some point.
Oh, really? The slide back? The slide back, as I like to call it.
Oh, I like that too. The old slide back.
I also feel like Rude is not spoken about enough through the Attitude Era as well, and his roles in major factions that would be very popularized, but maybe people don't think of him.
I agree. He holds claim to the craziest moment in wrestling television that I don't know if that really transcends to non-wrestling fans and also TV watchers, where he's on Monday Night Raw and Nitro on the same night.
Same night. Yeah.
Like I wish I'd saw that live.
Same.
Cause that is a marker of, that's one of the craziest things you're ever going to see on wrestling television, to go, oh yeah, there is a DX. Yeah, that's cool. I'm going to flip channel real quick. The hell? How is this happening? Because you would have
two different guys,
a little smart, but not figuring out at all. And just one of your friends tells you, well, that show's taped. Yeah, but then how's he allowed to go there? Oh, I don't know.
They must be in the same city. They must be taped in the same city. It must have been really close by.
And then if you're watching week to week going, who else is going to do it?
Actually, at that age, you probably would have been like, oh, well, his mom drove him. Because that's how we all got around.
Oh yeah, Trent's mom doing everything.
What is your general takeaway of a Rick Rude? Where does he stand on your
not unlike Raven, they're both different, but they are underrated. They are not talked about enough. And part of that is the WWE machine, and they acknowledge who they acknowledge, and they like who they like.
Right.
And you have to go to podcasts like this or something else where with our watch along series or other stuff where they do the reminder of like, hey, if you haven't seen them, or if you haven't seen them enough, you got to watch them, because they are some of the most consistent people, and they're real, and you don't, there's not a lot of bad stuff that they do. If they're in something bad, it's like, it's all the way bad, and it's not great, but they're trying their best. But for the most part, whatever they're involved in, they make sure it's good, or the match is what's outstanding about it.
Right.
And their promos both are excellent.
I feel like, we, after some storyline on TV, we sort of dove into the concept of like the B+ players. We've done a couple episodes where it was like people who just like kind of regularly deliver, but maybe were never the guy. And I feel like both Raven and Rude can fall into that category of like, they never really failed at what they were trying to do, what they were trying to do might have failed before it ever even happened. Like it was poorly written or it was never going to get over. The booking didn't work, but they never really disappoint in whatever it is they're trying at. They definitely succeed more often than
they were
not.
never catapulted to the mega stardom. Rude,
No.
in part because he died young.
Right. Of course.
But Rude is in the era of he's on his place in the card and always delivering. So it's harder to make a B+ player out of someone like that because he's consistently doing it. In WCW, he had the funky World's Championship, and Raven certainly helped carry a company. ECW was the guy.
Yeah, that's true.
He helped establish that whole thing, and then in the gigantic boom of it all, the last, hey, we still have territories of all these major players. We acquired you. Now we acquired you. What do we do with them? I don't fucking know.
Right.
And that's mismanagement of someone who is great. And they're both excellent. And you know what? They're both prime examples of, well, if I am the lover character, if I'm the hot, sexy guy character, everyone's going to compare me to Rick Rude. If I am a dark character, if I am
moody,
mystical, moody in any way, I'm going to be compared to Raven.
Right. That's true.
They nailed them so much that they are just the quintessential, well, that's what that is. What can you do differently?
I remember when I first saw Darby Allin, I thought like, oh, this is the modern version of Raven. It's that sort of like, social outcast, too cool for school, sort of goth, but not entirely, not,
misunderstood.
He's not doing Malachi Black or something like that. He's not doing a mythical thing, Yeah, exactly. Misunderstood, misfit. And yeah, Rick Rude is true because I feel like anytime someone is like, I'm kind of sexy, it's like, all right, well, that's Rick. He's Rick Rude now. Yeah.
Yeah. You're tapping in that. And that's a starting point for anybody, but how are you going to make it you?
Let's talk about how Bobby Roode should have just changed his last name and said like, yeah, it's my uncle. I don't know. Like let's make that a fake wrestling family. I think I would have done more for his career.
No, because he's still just a boring bag of popsicle sticks.
Oh no, really?
Yes.
You think so?
I know so. I've interviewed the man.
That's fair. And didn't get a lot?
No. That was a collective like, oh no, don't give us Bobby Roode. He is just a dull human. That song, that glorious song, is just the funniest thing because it's all about that song.
It was sort of a blessing and a death sentence at the same time.
Yeah, you put that song on anybody and you go, hey, I like that guy. Why? That's a cool song. And then what? I like tabletop gaming, and some members of my family do as well. And I always kind of cue that song up when we're tallying points at the end of a game night. Mm-hmm.
That was just whenever they say whoever won, I just hit play and it just sings the glorious. I mean, come on, it's like perfect for that kind of shit. But I don't think about Bobby Roode when I play it though.
No, and he's doing his thing now. He's a producer and all that, but I'm glad they didn't go fake family of like I'm the illegitimate son of him because he is with a lot of ladies.
I know I'm doing a bit. Obviously, I don't really think that would have been a good idea.
Sure.
What about let's do one more. You want to talk about Real Americans on there because then we have a few people to talk about.
Yeah, we got your Jack Swaggers, your Zeb Coulters, and your
two talents who, quite frankly, were held down by WWE. But thank God AEW existed so that both of these men could truly rise to absolute pro wrestling stardom as they deserve in all elite professional wrestling. I'm talking, of course, about Jake Hagar and Claudio Castagnoli. Castagnoli? Is that his last name?
Yes. That group did all right.
That group was great for them. It was interesting that it started as like a political satire
Of bad
with
guys.
Jake, of them being like, they took our gerbs.
And Dutch Mantel.
Making fun of
I was like,
making fun of the Tea Party
we're
movement.
gonna stick with these guys. And Dutch is like, yeah, I don't walk so great anymore.
Like, all right, we'll put you in a scooter. It's even honestly, the scooter makes it better.
Yeah, everything about it. And I think it's all credit to Dutch. There was a chemistry between Swagger and Cesaro in ring, and they were good and functional. But Zeb Coulter, the goofy name, the look, always with his mustache. But that guy can, what is it? You can sell ketchup popsicles to someone wearing white gloves. Like he's just that good.
Yeah, on screen,
and can make it whatever it is. He might not. I don't know the guy's political beliefs or anything of that sort whatsoever.
Yeah, you should avoid it.
I can imagine whatever you told him to sell, that it's like, hey, you stand with this, you believe this. Like, okay, give me 5 minutes.
Yeah,
and then can do it. He was of the guy. We talked about a long while back on the show when was it Backlash was in Puerto Rico. And
maybe
Coulter was a guy who worked Puerto Rico and talked about that it's a crazy town. It's a battery throwing, cup of piss throwing, wanting to stab you wrestling crowd. And that's where he got good. That's where he was drawing money, and that's where he was running the territory for a while. So like that guy can talk.
Right. Totally.
And get away.
Talk to survive.
So when seeing his talents thrown into a group like that, that's also like, well, I was in Puerto Rico and probably did tons of like America's the best and your country's your Puerto Rico sucks. Right. Like probably doing tons of that and going like, doing a lot of that, I can modernize this and change it up a little bit. But then people love it. That was so weird. It's like, boo, we don't like, you know what? Oh, all right. Yeah.
Well, do you want to know what this just shows how stupid and tribalistic fucking all people are, and Americans are the fucking worst of it. Our shitty American exceptionalism. This is literally the trajectory of that fucking group. It's like making fun of Tea Party douchebags, right? The don't tread on me fucking, libertarian Tea Party, it's all racist dog whistle stuff, which is how they started, right? A satire on all that stuff. Like I said, they took our jobs, they're crossing our borders.
Yeah.
And then all it takes is for one other bad guy to be in the ring and go like, Americans are stupid. America's dumb. This country's the worst. Even if they're telling the truth, all you need is for the audience to go, boo to you guys. And then for the fucking All Americans music to hit. And then we go, yeah, we're with them now. Like they were really racist a couple weeks ago, but now they're racist and we agree with them because you're saying mean things about us.
And they had the call to action, right? They had the interactive thing in a time where we're starting to get really scripted and there's not a lot, there's not as much interactivity. So it's put your hand over your heart and say, we the people.
And then
one of the worst shirts to ever come out of all of this too.
Oh God, it looks like a turkey hand.
I
always want to draw like a little beak
shirt. Yeah. And it's part of the arm too, that all comes across and then you're supposed to it's an outline of a hand and arm and it says we the people on it. And I probably made the joke during the show at that time of like, well, that's going in the discount bin real fast. And then when you saw the occasional person wearing it, you go, really?
Really?
You can make that.
Come on. The Sin Cara Dick shirt's available, right? You could buy that instead.
Don't buy a wrestling shirt you can make.
But then I do love the absolute fucking lunacy of adding a guy who's not American to the All Americans. And it works so... The real American. I'm sorry. Yes. It's so funny and absurd and idiotic. And yeah, I can only imagine them pitching that and be like, yeah, we're going to put Cesaro with them. Wait, what? We the people? Yeah. Yeah, we're going to put Cesaro. He speaks like 7 different languages. Americans don't speak more than one language. What are you doing?
Old Zeb
Did it
came
say
across
something?
as xenophobic to some, which made it surprising when Coulter brought the Swiss superstar Cesaro into his fold in June 2013 as the real American Cesaro and Swagger waved a Gadsden flag as a symbol of their campaign to revolutionize WWE. For nearly 9 months, they took on all threats, both foreign and domestic, but never won tag team gold.
That was only 9 months that they did that? I thought
Seems
that
like
went
it
on
was
for
much
much longer.
I think maybe
because
Swagger just carried on.
Yeah, I think that's what it was. You mentioned before, though, about they had good enough chemistry, and I want to say this about fucking Claudio. Tag team chemistry with fucking everybody. That guy's never been in a tag team that I didn't immediately like because he was in it. Like, I feel like he's one of those people, he's so good at what he does that he just makes fucking shit happen in the ring.
You watched him and Moxley together yet?
I have not watched a lot of the Blackpool Combat Club yet. No, I've avoided it because of Moxley mostly. But
Yeah,
am I eating crow
chemistry
right now? Yeah. Okay. Never mind. Yeah, but are they actually? No, never mind. I don't want to get into it. Okay. Well, up to a certain point, I guess maybe, or maybe not chemistry with people who actively have bad chemistry with other people.
Yeah, what would you call this group? Would you call it a happy accident? Would you say it's just like it's...
I wouldn't say a happy accident because I don't think it was an accident. I think it was success in the face of necessity. I think it was like, we have nothing else. Cesaro's great. We want him to do things, but we have no idea what to do with this talent. I mean, he's in a lot of tag teams. We've done a lot of tag teaming over the years. Let's put him with Swagger. Maybe they were friends. I don't know. Maybe there was backstage stuff where they were friends and he was like, just let me go fuck work. I don't know. I can only assume it was like, we got nothing for you. We're going to put you over here. And he went, okay. And then made it work. That's my guess. Go ahead. Read it.
No, you read it.
Matt Slom in the chat. All this talk about jingoist racism. Thanks for reminding me I need to call my mom today. We the people.
What's jingoist? What is that? Did he mean ginger mahalist?
Yes, genderist.
Oh,
I don't know how to define it, but I would use it. It's like, it's that. It's like southern like aggressive foreign. I don't know. Jingoism. It's nationalism in the form of proactive foreign policy. Yeah.
Have your mom call in the hotline. Say which wrestlers she loves and which ones she really hates.
I'm going to assume that she's just a regular unmasked llama. Mama llama. Mama llama.
Mama unvaccinated llama.
Oh, no. MAGA mama llama.
Well,
I don't know. I don't know that that's the case. I'm sorry. I shouldn't put that evil on you, Mass Llama. I don't know that she's that far.
Hey, it's nice that he's going to call her.
That is really nice. Everybody call your mom, except for me.
Yeah, everybody called Jake's mom. Wait, hey, what?
All right.
What if you and Llama chained mamas for a day?
I don't want to talk about that. Not even in a joking fashion.
Llama mama swap?
Okay. I know we have a lot of other stuff on this page, but we've been going a while. We do have a title to get to,
and we have phone calls. Yes, hotline.
We have a hotline call.
We always encourage people to call the hotline. It's open 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. So be sure to call that 747-666-5606 if you want to do a mom swap with any of our listeners. Hosts are not available to do so. So yeah, call that about wrestling stuff mostly.
Yeah, mostly. We'll get to the hotline in a second because it is time as we wrap up our WWE Encyclopedia Part 15 here.
Oh, we were right.
Get to the yep. I saw that. To get to the PWP Championship Battle Royal. Scott, you want to explain to the kids what we're doing here?
What we're doing here is on our Patreon, we have many things available to you as extra content to help support the show, as Patreon is a subscription service in which You are supporting the show. It's an outlet to go like, hey, I want to throw a couple of bucks to your show, and you can get something for it. Well, the Patreon's the best way to do it. So there's a lot of stuff available to you, and amongst those things is the Patreon championship level, in which you get special credit for the month. If you win this battle royal we're about to do, you get a watch along that you get to pick the match that we watch. You get your name up in the lights. You get your name in the Discord in the lights. You also get free swag, or heavily discounted, because we have some more premium stuff in the swag department available to you. And if it's not totally free, it is heavily discounted, because you get like a large credit towards the shop. And now is when we choose the name from the jar, not Rumbles.
Strong Style, a.k.a. Gaines, current PWP champ, defends that title right now. Whoa. And new PWP World Champion, Gilbert Short, a.k.a. Goliathon, a.k.a. Batal Andalus, if I'm not mistaken. Congrats, Gil. Let me take a look at the sheet here. Let's see. Champ history. Gilbert Short. This is his first victory of 2024. Gilbert is a 3-time one. I think this is his 4th time. So, still ways to catch up to the record holder, Andrew Beeler. But congrats, Gil, on your victory. Keep an eye out on your email to see all your codes and stuff to snag your shirts or whatever the heck you want to get. And of course, think about what you're going to pick for us to watch over on the watch along. Gilbert Short.
And is he in attendance for it? That's what I'm curious about.
Oh yeah, that's right. He always sends us stuff where he's like, if you look closely in the first row, and you know what? He never gets involved. He never goes in there and helps out whoever it is he's rooting for. Quite frankly, he's the apathetic teenager, just like Raven, just sitting around, doesn't care. Too cool to get involved. Gilbert. That's what we should call him. I say here, if you're going to go to a wrestling show, you should get up. You should get involved. You should hit somebody.
Hook a foot.
Kick someone in the nuts.
You gotta start it slow.
Andrew Beeler,
hook a foot. They run the ropes. You hook that foot. Trip them up.
Hook a foot. That should be Hook's signature move. The hook a foot.
Hook a foot.
Yeah. Andrew Beeler says in the chat, I always get nervous for who gets drawn because I really don't want to lose my record. I honestly, right now, I think you're sitting pretty for quite a while, Andrew. I mean, the odds are ever in your favor. You're like a Hunger Game over here. Well, once again, thanks to everybody who supports the show. Thanks to all of our championship Palskis, all of our Palskis in general. We'll give you all a special shout out in just a little while here, but we do have to take a hotline call first. Scott Narver, say goodbye to the live stream.
Thanks for joining us, everybody. Bye, live stream.
Like Scott said, 747-666-5606. That is the number of the Pro Wrestling Palskis hotline, or you can send a voice memo to hotline at pwpalskis.com. That's hotline at pwpalskis.com. Scott Narver, you want to see what the hotline has in store for us today?
Yes, I do.
Well, good, because I'm going to play a hotline call, and then you'll get to find out.
Hey, fellas. It's Lewis from Houston, AOPW_figures. My question is regarding wrestling figures. I kind of wanted to see what you guys' stances are on it. Were you guys collectors when you were young? Do you guys appreciate or collect anything now? If not, what is something that you would want to collect if maybe a particular wrestler from a particular match, a certain look? Is there something that would maybe break that rule? It's like, well, I don't collect, but there is this one particular wrestler or event that I would like to collect to sort of commemorate. Or if you guys do collect, what is your collection? Yeah, I'd love to hear action figure talk from you guys. Whatever I can get. So anyways, love the show as always. Thank you guys. Peace.
Lewis, thanks so much for the call. Talking action wrestling figures. I don't have any. I mean, that's not true. I have like one or two that have gifts that people gave me. I think I have like a Balls Mahoney one that was gifted to me
I gave
by
you that.
one Scott Narver. Yep. Still in the package. It was an ECW Balls Mahoney too. It wasn't like a WWE CW era.
Sure.
So that's cool. I still have that. I think that's it. Now that I think of it, I don't think I have any other ones. I think I might have a WWE Match Striker that my sister gave me. If I still have that, I don't know if I still have that one, but it would be like, oh, you know, we knew this guy, that kind of thing. Was
Yeah.
it when he first got hired there? I think that's it. I don't think I have any other like new ones. I think I might have like in an old box in storage somewhere, like maybe some of my old, the small guys with the tiny little legs. I forget what that era of figures was called, what that line was called. You know the ones I'm talking about, right?
You're talking
From the 80s
Yeah,
and early
it's-
90s.
I can think of the ad where they all had sort of
Yeah.
one movement, like you could pull Hacksaw Jim Duggan's
A moosh.
arm back
Yep.
and then there's a punch. Because those aren't the LGNs. The
Yep, and I
LGNs
think,
are the big rubber ones.
I think I have Jake the Snake, who, if I'm not mistaken, does a clothesline and he bends at the hip and the elbow. So he does this,
Yeah,
if
I'm
I'm not
looking-
mistaken. Although he also might be a pullback punch, though, now that I realize it.
These
But
are the
I might have one or two of
Hasbros.
those. Hasbros.
Yeah, those are, and they've done those again. They've come out with that sort of
Yeah.
packaging, and
I've
they do
saw
those.
it.
And I've tried
It's fun.
not to get into so many series of stuff like that. Is one where I go, don't do it.
Right.
I have a
Yeah.
decent amount
I don't. Yeah.
of stuff. I did buy some LGNs a number of years ago. They were it was at a garage sale, and I was like, okay, I'll buy some. So I did buy some of those to have again, because all that collection's long gone from when my brother and we had a bunch of wrestling action figures. We had the Hasbros, we had the LJNs, we had a bunch of those and rings. And now I was buying not the first wave of AEW toys, because those just were gone and never to be seen again, but the large chunk of the first wave after the first initial set of like Cody and Brandy and stuff. I got a lot of those.
Right.
Stopped in part because Jazzwares is not my favorite. This goes into unboxing territory. Right. That's where you can see a lot of my stuff.
Sure.
Of the wrestling collection, like over time, the stuff I've acquired. Ringside Collectibles has been very nice. Met some people there, and they've been kind enough to share some products, and I've unboxed them, and those are some of my favorites, legitimately. Like the Cameron Grimes is ridiculous that he comes with the handfuls of cash.
Yeah. That's fun. Oh yeah, those are the ones that come with like a few different heads, a few different hands, some of them.
Yeah, the Ringside.
Right. Yeah, those look cool.
Yeah, their exclusives are real fun. The Mega Power set that they have is really cool. It's like they make a lot of like quintessential. If that's all you got, that's solid. Certainly a lot of WWE Mattels. Talking to another friend of the show who's an avid collector, that he, has collected stuff throughout the different eras, but I think he put it best. I'm paraphrasing. The WWE Mattel line is about the best there is. There's so many available. The selection, the different looks, the different eras, and as far as just a functioning figure, everything about it, they're really, 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 really great. So when you're getting into collecting and you see all the different types, the nostalgia's there, sure, but you can get damn near everybody that's ever existed through a Mattel line
in wrestling,
and the consistent look of everybody. It's great. So I know they're coming out with another Punk. Like I do want another Punk. I have a Ringside Collectibles AEW Punk, which is really cool, but I could certainly see getting a new Punk, right? Like if it's the Survivor Series, him walking out and he's just wearing the shirt and stuff, like I'd get that. If he was wearing the suit from WrestleMania when he's doing commentary, he's got the thing on his elbow, I'd get that. The Drew McIntyre from WrestleMania this year, that'd be one that I get, like that sick outfit and all that. That'd be cool.
Right.
I keep trying to not to get a whole bunch because I have a cat, and you set up figures anywhere and she goes, "Hey, I'm gonna fight you."
Yeah, I was gonna ask.
Wham.
Do you take stuff out of the package? Do you put stuff on display? Like, what's your? Because that's my big thing. Is like I don't display Like I used to
How
have the
cool you
Brawlway,
are?
as listeners will know. Yeah, exactly. But, I used to have the Brawlway, which was like, oh, okay, the hallway in my old apartments. Like there were 3 of them overall.
Things that could hang on the wall and not take up too much space.
Exactly. Most of them were pictures. I had some of the fake, the toy titles because they laid flat.
Fake?
And that was pretty much about, yeah. Did you think you thought you were a giant?
I thought you won those in training.
Legitimacy. Yeah. That's what they give you. But I never really, like, outside of that, I think when I was younger, when I was in my 20s, my apartments were more nerd culture, where I would like put out stuff on the shelf of all the pop culture stuff. But then as I got a little older, it became a little bit more focused. And like, for example, the decor of my living room for so long was strictly movie stuff.
Yeah.
And I was like, I had all the if you remember, like I had the black and white photos that were all behind the scenes movie set photos in black and white. And like, I didn't have a space where I would put wrestling stuff that wasn't the Broadway and pop culture stuff in general. Like I don't have toys. I don't have stuff for comic books, And so I guess like the reason I don't buy it is not because I don't look at it and go, this would be cool to have. It's like, I don't know what I would do with it. And I can't really justify buying a piece of plastic for no, if we took the show more seriously and I like, if we had like a studio space, the 2 of us were just for pro wrestling, that wasn't Dragon Wagon Radio as a whole, but it was just like, hey, this is the Palskis. If we were doing like, if we had a bunch of fucking listeners and we had like money and
we had a set
and I was building a set for us, if we had a proper set, then I would be like, yeah, I would buy a bunch of wrestling.
And I've done that from time to time.
And I would buy
the show that I've justified. Yeah. That's the wrestling t-shirt collection. That was in part for that. Right. It was, hey, you're buying outfits for the show and showing the different wrestling shirts and buy some figures. And
100%.
Carlin Baith and I would talk about that and geek out over it a little bit because she was interested in that stuff. So we'd buy some figures and, that was a fun justification to go, well, it's not just for me. I'm going to put it on the desk over at Fox Sports. That'll be fun.
Right. Yeah.
So that is a part of it for sure.
To answer the actual question, like what would you get? I feel like if I was doing something just for the show, I would try to, like you said, Mattel has everything. I would try to get like just for my shot or for whatever over my shoulder, just the black and gold era of NXT. It would just be the entire roster for NXT for those 5 or 6 years.
And some new generation.
It would just be all these characters.
Right. You'd have like.
No, I don't know. Well, that would be different.
Like the purple.
Maybe, but I don't know. I mean, that would probably be different though, because I'm very focused. You know the way I am. I get hyperfixated. Listen, ADHD is a bitch. And I'm like, this is the thing. I need to get hyperfixation. So if that's what I'm doing, I can't deter from that or else it becomes a mess. It becomes
then it'd be so much fun if you had that
so I would just
NXT black and gold, because then every so often I'd go in there and I'd change out the Roderick Strong to a modern AEW Roderick Strong with the neck brace and the glasses and the mustache and see how long until you'd notice.
Man, so many of those people.
That I do these little switch outs and you're Adam Cole. I'd take the same head, but then put it on on a stick figure to represent what he looks like now.
All of a sudden, Aleister Black would be wearing a weird mask that he never wore. Yeah. I mean, the Luke Harper would have so much.
A few Brody Lees.
He'd go through so many changes.
And the negative one.
You know what would be interesting? Would be cool if I was like buying something, if I had like a room that was dedicated to do like a championship reign chronologically. That'd be fun to do, like the Intercontinental Champions, and to try to get toys of like in order of all the Intercontinental Champions of like who beat who. And even if there was a repeat, try to see if they have one from that era, if like there's somebody who won it 5-6 years later, if they have a different figure from that era. That would be kind of cool to see, like, oh, here's literally all of the Intercontinental Champions throughout, a few decades or whatever. That'd be kind of fun.
I'd love to be there when you buy the Chris Benoit's.
Because you'd get, listen, if I'm doing the black and gold NXT, I got to find a fucking Velveteen Dream as well. So we all have problems, okay?
Forgive me. I've forgotten this listener's name because we've gotten so deep into the rabbit hole of action figures.
Oh, this is Lewis. Also known on on Instagram as AOPW_figures, who I do want to tout because
Yeah,
their
you say
whole
it too fast, Reyes. You gotta slow that down.
AOPW_figures. And their whole Instagram is just fun photography of figures. And there's a set built with an audience. It's moments from matches recreated in figure form. And it's like, fun little moments from, I don't know if they're all like iconic matches or if some of them are like little works of fiction that he's done, but they're really cool. It's well done.
I'm looking right now.
And like their whole thing is wrestling figures.
One of the social media accounts that I have. And I'm digging this. It's cool. I recommend
realize that we were not following
AOPW_figures. Go check it out. Give it a follow.
But yeah, I don't know. I don't know that I'll ever get into it. I don't know that it's a thing that even if it would really be predicated on this program. The only reason I'd ever buy action figures would be for the show. So that we had some fun, silly shit on a video. If we, again.
Yeah, like I use them for my set for Scott vs.
More
Box
seriously.
Stuff.
Yeah.
So
yeah, I've seen a
justification for that. And then outside of that, like at home, it's not really set up to do that. Plus, Sorcery Pants would knock them over. But if things were different, I'm sure I would. Like if I were living by myself or I had a different setup, I probably would. And I probably go more in on not just wrestling figures, but some other stuff too. Like I do the Indiana Jones figures.
Right.
I bought almost all of them. I feel like it's never going to finish.
That's cool.
They're going to just stop at one point abruptly and be like, no, there's so many that I wanted and they didn't make them.
Right.
So they're collections for sure. And I do like to get them. But once I lose that studio space, I don't know what I'm going to do with them.
Right. I got a fun thing here. You can't say Undertaker because I think just because he's like a superhero-y kind of character in wrestling, I think he's the definitive answer. But if you could, if you had to pick a wrestler who you just got their figures, okay? And it's like, who has the best action figures throughout their career? One wrestler who has the best like line. If you're like, I'm going to get all of this person. I think Taker's the obvious, but who would be second?
Hogan.
And maybe it's not Taker. People's opinions. Hogan,
because everybody made a Hogan. And Taker, while there's a lot, he missed out on the LJNs, so he doesn't have one of those. So the classic Hogan.
I was going just like different figures, but you're going even different like companies and all of the different stuff.
So the different, if you're just talking different looks amongst a figure, because Hogan's got that too with plenty of, you got your Mr. America, you got your Hollywood Hulk Hogan,
right?
You maybe some Thunder in Paradise looking. He's a little bit more gaunt.
Sure.
You got your.
You could probably find a Rip. You could find a Rip figure that counts.
They
I'll
exist.
Take that.
Thunder Lips. If you want to go a little bit of Rocky territory,
right?
I think Hogan's up there. If you go
for sure.
Yeah, I'm just talking about Hulk Hogan. I'm not talking about Terry Bollea.
Right. Yep.
Yeah, because if it just looks, there's plenty of people, but I feel like if you want different figures, if you want different style of figures all throughout.
I mean, I definitely think Bray of the modern era, just because there's so many of them now, right? That's another like there's so many different versions of that. Oh, Foley's great too, because you get all the faces of Foley in different formats.
Yeah. That's a good
one. But again, though, it's like you're saying, it doesn't go back so far.
Yeah, there's a couple of retro figures, and throughout the 90s and 2000s, you're dealing with Jack specific line. So there's a bunch of different stuff. There's like super ripped versions of guys. There are some unique and weird ones. Yeah. So I think Foley is still represented with all that. Well, I'd like to say in Austin or something like that. At the end of the day, you're still just getting a guy with black trunks and black boots, and And there's a lot of bad figures throughout some of that era too, that Jack Pacific or whoever else made, and you go, who is this?
Right.
You just made a guy.
I feel like there are some people who I do think, like Brett, they are all kind of, they also end at a specific point, but like, they're all kind of just a dude in that kind of singlety tights get up with pants, but like, at least the styles change. But
the outfits, it depends on what you want. It's like, do you want outfits on your figures? Do you want accessories?
Right.
Do you want different companies who made these figures? Because Sting is another one where there's a lot of cool Sting shit.
You know what else? Sting is a good one too. You know what else I think is good though? I think fucking, Goldust / Dustin Rhodes. And I'm counting them both as one person. Because talk about a dude who changed the Goldust. I saw the Rhodes Eye.
Yeah, the Road Eyes. I think all the Road Eyes, like Goldust, yes, for sure, amongst Dustin, but Dusty's got tons of different looks. Like you go the cowboy route, you go the polka dot route.
Yeah.
And then all things Cody, right? No neck tattoo. Stardust. I did buy a Stardust not too long ago. Last time I visited Ringside Collectibles, they'd released a new Stardust. It's just one of those things where Cody goes like, "This is fine."
Sure.
And
whatever.
I was like, I gotta get this, and it comes with the WrestleMania. I always fuck these up because I didn't use the numbers 32 from the Intercontinental ladder match, where he's got the polka dot ladder.
Okay.
That's the accessory it comes with. Had to get it.
That's fun.
Had to.
Yeah, that's fun. Well, there you go. A little figure talk for you. Thanks again so much, Lewis, for being a dedicated listener. Everybody check out that Instagram.
And go buy an action figure.
Go buy an action figure if it's your jam. And if it's not, I don't know. Just go do whatever else you do, I guess. That'll do it for the program this week. Once again, congrats to the new PWP World Champ, Gilbert Short. Please consider becoming a patron over at patreon.com/PWPalskis. You can also support the program by heading over to dragonwagonshop.com and snagging yourself a nice new hoodie or a hat or a t-shirt or a phone case. Tons of designs there. PWP designs as well as Dragon Wagon designs. Also just like fun wrestling stuff that's not entirely connected to the show. You can get yourself a Hot Dog Mania shirt just in time for the summer. Summer's around the corner. You're gonna want that shirt come July 4th. That might be the greatest July 4th shirt there is a Hot Dog Mania.
And soon
shirt.
enough, there's gonna be turned into action figures because it's gonna be so popular. That shirt's gonna be everywhere, and then be like, I need a figure of that.
Yeah, we need to find someone with a 3D printer.
We just start
before we get out of here, Scott
Costco.
With real hot dogs? The samples?
That's right.
Hey, I feel like we know a person or two who makes some custom figures. They could probably figure that out.
So I think that could happen.
But we can't pay you. All right. Anyways, Scott and I forgot to thank our current PWP Palskis.
It's the only show that hands out Retribution names as well as Maximum Male model names. Why? Because Mass Llama's mom wants us to. So we abide. So thank you to AJ0314, aka Binary, aka Matrice69, Alex Pierce, aka Figs, aka Zitoys, Alice Raider, aka Invasion, aka Yves Joie, Andrea Beeler, aka Pollen Hate, aka Achu Detest, Curtis Mason, aka Hurtis, aka Ashe, Gilbert Short, aka Goliathon, aka Batal Underoos, aka the new PWP champion, Mass Llama, aka Spitz, aka Jakara Lover, Michael Beltran, aka Limestone, aka La Naturel, Miguel Diaz, aka Bipod, aka Too Much Husk, Mike Lucas, aka Hackensack, aka Luger Testicle, Strong Style, aka Gaines, Suicide, aka Tim Bemis, aka War Trek, aka Tussle Quest. Ain't nobody named Meow.
She really wants to have her say on
Tim Redbeard, aka Bloodfuzz, aka Blue Diffuse, Tom Hader, aka Cupid, aka Cherub, and Tony Griggs, aka Big Griggs, aka Grand Grisois.
Thanks to each and every one of you for your continued support of the program. I feel like Sushi Pants is kind of a
Sushi Pants?
name.
You Retribution?
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, I'm gonna fucking kill your internet. All right. Thanks everybody. This has been fun. Enjoy all of the festivities that are occurring in the world around you at all times, always. We appreciate you. Thanks for hanging out. Always a blast hanging out with you, the Pro Wrestling Palskis.
Hi, this is Wingman Steve.
Hi, this is Lily.
And you should listen to High School Never Ends, which is a podcast about
pop punk music.
You might hear me and Lily talk about some of our favorite bands like
Blink-182 and Yellow Card.
Tune in every other Thursday. Follow us on social media at HSNEPod. And don't just do it for me.
Do it for Lily.
It's Dragon Wagon.